Welcome to the Books Between Friends podcast.
3 lifelong friends,
one shared obsession.
Books.
From epic fantasy to page-turning thrillers.
We dive into the stories we love
And the ones we just can't stop talking about.
So take a seat,
Grab a drink,
and get cozy.
Oh yeah, I guess I'm supposed to start us.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome back, book friends. How are you guys doing? How was your weekend? So for us, we actually just came back from visiting family. My sister-in-law had her first baby, so we got to go meet him.
I love that.
That was really nice. Yeah. What about you guys?
So this past weekend, it was Father's Day, so I went to Waco to go visit my family. I was there Saturday and Sunday, and that's really basically it. I don't have a lot going on right now, just visiting family. I took my dad to go get some ice cream on Sunday, and then Saturday everybody was there, so we celebrated Father's Day a day early. But yeah, no, it was a nice weekend of family, and now I'm just really tired. I feel like whenever I do go out on weekends, and I don't get the rest that I need, it makes me grumpy all week.
Yeah.
I feel that. I feel that 100%.
I hate being an adult sometimes.
Yeah. So speaking of, that leads into mine. I have been resting because, as we all know by now, the saga of the move has concluded, right? There is no more move.
Yeah.
But it has
Yeah.
taken
Good.
my body so long to recuperate. I'm still
Yep.
going through the throes of oh my God, getting out of bed, my back hurts. Ugh.
No.
I don't like this. 35 is not a good look.
Yeah.
But
That's
you
your
moved
mid-30s.
a lot of stuff. I
Yeah.
think it's fair to say that a week gone by is still a good amount of time for it to
To be
I
recovering.
don't know. Yeah. It's a lot. I feel like another week probably would be good, or you'll be good in another week.
Yeah. So I'll just take it easy for the next week, whew,
Yeah.
rest it out.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Why not? You're on summer break. Why not?
You got the time.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, might as well.
Yeah.
Well, good. Okay, so you guys, before we jump in, I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to Jen first to give us our brief little spoiler warning, and then we'll dive into our discussion for today.
All right, you guys, before we get started, if you're listening to this episode, we are assuming that you have read through chapter 67 of The Hero of Ages, because there are going to be some major, and I say that every episode, but for real, major spoilers throughout. We are so close to the end. So much has happened in this section. So if you haven't had a chance to read, please go back and read those first 67 chapters. And then come back and join our discussion. And super quick, you guys, if you've been loving our book chats, we would really, really appreciate it if you left us a quick review on Apple Podcasts. It helps more book lovers find us. It keeps our little book community growing. We can't wait to meet more book friends. And we love hearing what you guys think. So we would love to give you a shout out on our next episode if you do decide to give us a review.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so before we start our discussion, I'm just going to run through a quick summary of this section. So, while still imprisoned in Fadrix, during conversations with Yeoman, Vin realizes that Ruin has been influencing her fixation on the Lord Ruler's adium stash, driving her to search for it on his behalf. She also discovers that Yeoman never had the adium stockpile that she's been hoping to find in the storage cache at Fadrix. Outside the city, Elend faces increasingly impossible choices as the world continues to deteriorate. Guided by another brief encounter with the Mist Spirit, he ultimately decides to abandon the siege and return to Luthadel. But Ruin intervenes through Marsh, triggering a massive battle between armies and the Koloss. Vin escapes during the chaos, drawing on the Mist again to fight against Marsh and reunite with Elend. Meanwhile, in Urtu, Spook's storyline reaches a turning point. As riots engulf the city, he discovers that the voice he believed was Kelsier was actually Ruin manipulating him through the sword shard in his shoulder, and that he's also been manipulating Quellion with a hemalurgic spike in his arm. Refusing to give in to Ruin's demands to kill Quellion, Spook removes the shard from his shoulder and the spike from Quellion's arm, and he loses his ability to burn pewter. And as the fires around the city grow, Spook ultimately risks his life running through a fire to restore water to the city's canals, becoming a genuine hero to its people. His actions ultimately helped to save Urtu. Meanwhile, Tensoon's search for Vin also takes him to Urtu, where he meets with Sazed and gives him one of the most important discoveries of this series. The first generation of the Khandra were the original Terrorsmen that accompanied Rashek on his journey to the Well of Ascension. And the religion of the Terrorsmen has been preserved by the Khandra under the protection of the Lord Ruler and the First Contract this whole time. Sazed decides to travel with Tensoon to the homeland of the Khandra to try and convince them that the end of the world is imminent. By the end of this section, the heroes finally have pieces of the puzzle they've been missing. They understand more about hemalurgy, Ruin's influence, and the significance of the storage caches. But with Ashfall's worsening, cities collapsing, and an enormous Koloss army gathering around Fadrex, the clock is running out. In the final moments, Vin sets off on a dangerous mission of her own, hoping to draw Ruin's attention as the fate of the world hangs in the balance.
I can't, y'all.
So that's where we're at.
I can't with these chapters. Like, I cannot.
I know. The stakes just keep rising every section.
How is it
It's
possible? How is it possible? Just keep getting worse and worse. And like, I just want to cry every time. I'm like, I want something good to happen to these guys.
I know. It's so much.
So much in these chapters.
I know.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even want to read the last. I think I'm going to skip the last section, y'all.
No,
You're
you
gonna
have to
DNF
read
it
it.
here.
It's so good. I promise.
I'm done. I can't.
You're gonna DNF due to mental sanity. Yeah.
Yes, emotional devastation. I cannot face the truth, you guys.
I promise you it's worth it. Just keep going.
Okay.
Okay, so it's time for us to get into our discussion. So like always, we're going to do our 3, 2, 1 structure. So we're going to start with 3 things that stuck out to us. Then we're going to move on to 2 character moments. And then we're going to finish with 1 theory and or prediction, because sometimes we got to do both.
Whew.
So let's start with the 3 things that stuck out to us. Ethan, why don't you kick us off?
Okay. Like I said, so many things happen in these chapters. I'm ready to dig right on into it. But first, can I just say how proud I am of us so far? Because I feel like a lot of the things that we have theorized were confirmed in this section specifically.
Yes. Yeah.
I was just like going through a checklist, like check, yep, check, yep, check, yep. And I was like, ooh, yeah.
Dun,
And
dun.
it didn't make me think it was predictable. It just made me excited that, I was like, we were right. Yeah. And I wanted to
Yeah,
keep on
y'all were
reading.
spot on some things.
And honestly, some of the things are not obvious. Like, we've just been picking up on these things for a while now. So it's just been kind of finally coming together. So I think you're right, Ethan. It's not predictable. I think we're just that good. I'm just kidding.
Y'all have been connecting the dots.
Yeah.
Yes. Reading between the lines, if you will.
Yeah.
Okay, so my first point is just kind of like a humorous one, but in this section, Elend and Preservation have a conversation,
Kind of.
and it was kind of hilarious the way this conversation played out, because
Yeah.
I know it's a serious situation because Elend was having his dark moment here where he was about to give up, and I think we're going to talk about
right.
that later, so I'm going to save that, But when he does, that's when Preservation makes his appearance in the Mist Spirit form. And he comes to Elend's aid. And Elend realizes that in order to have an effective conversation that Ruin can't manipulate, he basically has to ask Preservation yes or no questions. And in some weird way, Preservation indicates yes by frantically waving his arms around. And I'm picturing this go in my head, like, should I attack the city? No, he like stands still. Should I not attack the city? And I just
Ridiculous.
and sometimes
really
he,
funny.
and sometimes he waves, but not as strongly. And he's like, "Is that
Yeah,
maybe?" Or I don't
Yeah,
know. But he's like, And I just thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Kudos to Ellen though
So
for
true.
being like smart to think right on the spot to say, okay, if I can't have him write it out, then what can I do? And still having like a
Right.
good conversation and getting good information from him. And this is also the section that really confirmed who that Miss Spirit was. Because remember, we were
Right.
like, is it friend or foe? You know, who is this Miss Spirit? So, and it also confirms what I said in the last book, not last episode, that I thought that the Miss Spirit stabbed Ellen on purpose to try to get Vin to take the power from the well.
To
So,
take the power.
like,
Yeah.
ooh, yay. I got that.
Yes, first
exactly.
confirmation. Check.
Yep.
But yeah, that whole section was very entertaining to me. And yeah, I was like, I'm picturing in my head, it's like he's trying to hail a cab frantically.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was my first point. My second point is Marsh entering the picture again. And he does it in kind of a big way. I think he's going to be key here going forward because he's not done. But from Vin's reasoning, she thinks that Ruin is kind of getting impatient, waiting on Yeoman to divulge any information based on Vin's interaction with Yeoman.
Right.
And so to get the job done quicker, I guess he brings Marsh in for that reason. If that's all it took, why not just bring him in from the get-go, first of all?
Yeah.
So that was my first question. But I think this scene is really critical because it confirms a couple of things that we've been kind of thinking about. Is that yes, Inquisitors can be controlled similarly to the Koloss and Khandra. It just takes a lot more strength. It's revealed in an epigraph later that it takes a lot more strength to do that to an Inquisitor because they have so many spikes.
Right.
Whereas the Koloss only have like 4 and the Khandra have 2. So that's the first kind of confirmation. I feel like we knew this with previous implications that we've read before, but this is officially confirmed here now that Vin tried to do it. Or she did do it. It just resulted in Marsh running away.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it was very interesting. What did y'all make of that?
So I guess to your first question, you said, why didn't he bring Marsh in sooner? And I thought about that too. But hasn't he been like showing up to Vin to gloat, to say basically, I've already won, you know?
It's done. Yeah.
Yeah. And basically telling her, I have been manipulating you this entire time, giving her like a smirk and stuff. So I think that's why he didn't want to bring somebody else in, because it's like, no, I did this myself. I got you, you know, just in that kind of gloating way. And then once he got frustrated, that's when he brought Marsh in, which obviously didn't even help because he didn't do anything different than what Ruin was already doing.
Yeah. And Ruin was wrong in thinking, like Vin was thinking, that Yeoman had the adium and he didn't.
Right.
But I think also you may have just given the answer, Ethan, that maybe Ruin knew that Vin could possibly control Inquisitors in this way. And so he probably didn't want to bring Marsh in unless it was a last resort. Otherwise,
That makes
because
sense,
remember in
That's
that
true,
moment
yeah.
when she did take control of Marsh, she also got a glimpse of Ruin's consciousness, which would be super dangerous for him. I think my guess would be he didn't bring him in because of that being a threat to him.
Yeah.
And when he did bring Marsh in, it was because he was desperate to just finally get the answer, you know, where is the adium?
Yeah.
That it was like a last resort to bring Marsh in.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. But this implication with Marsh, this scuffle that Vin and Marsh have, kind of brings me to my third point that I'll mention is Vin's earring.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like,
So this was
ooh.
kind of.
Was it you that called it, Ethan?
Was it between
the earring
us
or
two,
both of you
did
guys?
we both talk about it?
We've
know
both
we talked about it
the
last
earring.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I theorize that it coincides, her taking the earring out coincides with the
Manipulation by
Ruin's
Oh, wait,
my
no,
God.
no.
Ruin's
So
manipulation.
I brought up that I thought that's the steel that was helping Ruin take control. You brought up that without that earring, she can control the mist.
And she can use
And she can't see
Yeah.
Ruin. Yeah.
Yeah.
right
That's why the mist kind of retracts from her, is because she's under Ruin's influence whenever
Yeah.
it's in.
with the
Yeah.
earring. Yeah.
And then without that, not only is she free of that, but she can also take in the mist, which hasn't truly been confirmed yet, I will say. But
Right.
but with what we're seeing so far, because when she does take it out, because she uses it as a weapon against Marsh, to blast it through his brain,
That's
with
great.
a
Yeah.
Duralumin push.
Crazy.
That
Yeah.
was great.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, okay.
Whoa.
I feel like we're Magneto here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, she did that, and so Marsh is down for just a minute. And first, how did he not anticipate that? Because Ruin is watching this whole scuffle. Couldn't he just tell Marsh, "Hey, she's trying to steal your medals, dude. Like, protect your sash." I don't know,
Yeah,
but
I don't
Ruin
know
is
how I
also
didn't see
very
that, but, like,
arrogant. So
Yeah. I think he also relies on what people say because he can't like hear your thoughts. And
that's
then
true. Yeah,
he only relies on what they say, so he probably just doesn't pay attention that closely to their like body language. And she's a
Yeah.
thief, so
I was
like the
gonna say
implication
that.
there is that she's
Yeah.
like, her sleight of hand is pretty good.
Yeah.
pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense. But as soon as she does that, she takes out the earring to use it against Marsh. Ruin mysteriously disappears. And not only that, now she uses the mist again because she burned all of her medals
Yeah.
to do the Duralumin push, and now she's using the mist again. And she's thinking to herself, after this whole thing is over, why was I able to use the mist again? And so it leads us to believe that this is why.
Right.
Not confirmed yet, but I'm
Yeah.
soft calling it right here.
Yeah. She hasn't made that connection, but the evidence suggests
Yes.
that it's
Yeah.
the earring.
Yeah. I know she's still very
and
much
actually
baffled by
that's-
that.
Yeah, and that's the reason why she decided to like go off towards Luthadel, saying like, I'm gonna go get the adium, remember? Because she was thinking before that, maybe the mist will allow me to use it whenever I'm desperate. Because that's also been a common thread. The last two times she was using the mist is that it was like in the middle of a fight that she was able to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, she thinks that, by being in a dire situation that she could do it again. But I'm like, lady, don't put yourself in a dire situation. Like, what are you doing? Don't do that.
Right. Like, let's
But it
think
also-
through this a little more.
I know.
Yeah,
What's the common factor here?
Yeah.
It also leads me to believe that there's still something special about Ven that we're going to be led to later on, because as far as I know, she's the only Mistborn, even Mistborn that have been in dire situations before, haven't been able to use the mist as she's been able to. So
Correct.
there's still
Yeah.
something special about her that I think is still yet to be revealed. Is it the
Right.
Hero
No
of
one
Ages
else has been
question?
able to
We don't know.
use the mist.
We got 17 chapters left.
Do we really? Good gracious.
Right?
Yeah.
That's how much we have left. Yeah, 17 chapters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Crazy.
like 80 something and an epilogue.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, well, all good points, Ethan. But that actually leads me
Yes.
into one of my first points, which is we've been talking about this, but with Ruin wanting the adium so badly, like, what does he really want it for? So, my first point is, what does Ruin want with adium, and how does that tie into what Preservation told Elend about the mist? So, I'm trying to make connections with this. So, Preservation told Elend that the mist is not killing people and then pointed at his metal vials, which I think kind of solidifies a little bit but what you've been talking about, Ethan, with like the 16 and the metals and that having to do with maybe we're about to get a bunch of mistings from all these people who've been sick, right? And then we just talked about, how we theorize that Ben can use the mist to power up her elementic powers when she's not wearing her earring. Or so we think, right? What could Adium possibly do if Ruin wants it so badly? Like, is that going to fuel his power? I mean, he's talking about a body, but I think we were assuming that he wants like a physical body. I think he just wants something that's going to help power his, power him. And it would make sense that Adium would do that if everything is tied to metal, right? I don't know. I don't know. Like, what do you guys think? Like, there was more pieces here. I'm still trying to put it together, but I can't seem to put it together.
So, didn't Vin mention during this whole interaction that they had that she either thought it or she said it out loud that Adium, he can't see past it, or I guess just metal in general. Like, he can't see past it.
Oh, Oh, that's right. Yes.
And so I'm wondering if Adium, if he realizes that wherever he finds Adium, he also might find his body because it's kind of like shielding his body.
Okay.
So
That makes
that's
sense.
where I went because Preservation does have a body. It was revealed. And so it would come to stand that Ruin might also have a body that,
Okay.
you know.
That's right.
They can use. Yeah.
Okay. See, I didn't even think about
was
that.
that was one of the things whenever she was talking to Yeoman, she told him about the 5 caches and then he had her point them out on a map. And he thought he didn't believe her because he thought it was just random areas in like cities that weren't that important. And then
Right.
she had him bring a map that showed all the different like metal mines throughout the empire, and the caches correlated with some of the biggest metal mines in the empire. So then she put that together to realize, oh, Ruin can't see past metals like you said, Ethan. So he's not able to pinpoint where the adium is, like with whatever his power is. And so he was just going off of like word of mouth with what Yeoman's been implying that he supposedly has the adium, and then
Yeah.
Vin has been assuming that he has the adium. So
Yeah.
he thought that it was going to be at Fadrix based on those assumptions, but
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeoman was in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. Marsh was
Okay.
pissed.
Well, that makes sense, Ethan, that if he is looking for the stash, it's because it could be hiding something that he's been looking for his body, right? Okay, makes more sense. That was my first point. And then the second one is the scene with Spook, and like just the scene with him not only freeing himself from Ruin, but he saved Quellion too and saved the freaking city. Like that whole scene, I absolutely loved it.
Such a great moment for Spook.
It was a great moment.
Huge.
Yeah. So this was all, back when Spook was trying to, do this whole plan with the water and trying to expose Quellion. And of course we get the big reveal that it was Beldre all along. But he saw the city burning and realized that everything that was going on was all wrong. And honestly, this wouldn't have happened if Kelsier, aka Ruin, wouldn't have had told Spook to kill Beldre, because he was like, use her body to get her power, use the spike to do that. He's like, wait, what are you talking about? I would never do that. Like Kelsier would never tell me to do that, right?
Right.
And so like that finally like just snapped him out of whatever manipulation that he was under. And he turned around and noticed that Quellion also could see Kelsier, and he was just like, why can the two of us see him, right? And then that's when he thought about the spike, and he took the spike out of Quellion, and then he took the spike out of himself. And it was just like, if I didn't already love Spook, this would have made me love him even more. But then, also too, that I love that Beldre got her brother back, and I love that Spook ended up being the hero here by saving the city from burning down, because he basically thought he was going to die when he ran into that building. He was like, I have to
he
do
was
what I have to do.
fully prepared to do that.
Yeah.
To actually give his life for that cause. That was
And
crazy.
it was smart of him to turn off his tent,
Yes.
to not feel the burning. And I thought that too.
Oh my
But he's going to
gosh.
turn it off and become numb so that he can't feel himself
Yep.
burning alive, basically. It was just a
Yeah.
crazy scene. There's just so much happening
and
here.
crazy
was-
that he
Loved it.
actually survived that.
I know.
So beautifully written.
Yes.
Because when that chapter starts, I was like, no, something bad is
gonna be
about to
bad.
happen. This is
Yeah.
going to be tragic. But then it just turned on a dime. And what great foreshadowing, because it's not just Survivor of the Flames because he's Kelsier's protege,
Yeah.
but it's Survivor of the Flames foreshadowing that he actually became a Survivor of the Flames.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
it was just so well done. I loved this full circle moment for Spook, and I'm so glad you brought it up because I saw that it was in your notes for your points. I was like, okay, great, we're getting to talk about it because it was
Yeah,
such a
yeah.
great moment.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah, I just love all of this for Spook. And again, so awesome because to his detriment, he's like, I know what this is going to do to me. But so he pulls
Yeah.
his own spike out anyway. And
Yeah.
that was just amazing. His character, one of my faves, beyond a doubt.
Yes.
Like, I
Yeah.
love Spook.
And you would never think that he would become what he has become. Thinking back on the Spook that was in book 1, Because like book one Spook, I was just like, who's this guy? Who's this guy lusting after Vin, basically, right?
Yeah, he
that
was
talks
just kind
weird.
of like comedic
Yeah.
relief a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
easy to forget.
But I
Yeah.
freaking love him now.
I know,
I know.
yeah.
He's so
it's really-
unsuspecting.
and like, yeah, and I don't know that I would have been in that moment able to put together those
Big
like
reveals.
it's the spike.
Yeah.
That's not Kelsier. It's some other power because he hasn't been with Vin this whole time researching ruin and preservation
Yeah.
and what went on with the well. He's kind of been around, but he doesn't know the details of everything. So I don't know that I would have been able to put all that together in that moment and realize I'm being manipulated by an evil god right now. I need
Yeah.
to snap out of it. That's crazy.
The fact that Ruin revealed it himself, he was the one that basically said, use the spike to steal her power. He was like, I gave you
Yep.
pewter. So that's,
Yeah.
and the fact that he was obviously threatening Beldred too, because obviously we know how he feels
Right.
about her. So it's just like, that just like all snapped him into place. I
My
loved it. It was
guy.
great.
I love him.
Okay, and then my third point is the reveal of the first generation, y'all. I was
Bring
like,
it. Bring it.
Crazy.
what a huge reveal. So this happened when Tensoon was leaving to go find Vin, and he calls Sazed the announcer. And Sazed's like, whoa, what are you talking about? So this must have sparked something in Sazed's brain because it made him go back and think about when he was called the holy first witness and how that manipulated him into what happened, right? And then when Sazed questions this, Tensoon tells him, it strikes me as odd, Teresman. There's one great inconsistency in all of this, a problem no one has ever thought to point out. What happened to the packmen who traveled with Reshek and Elendi up to the Well of Ascension? And when Bree says that Reshek turned his friends into noblemen, Sazed said, no, that couldn't have been it because Reshek's friends were Feruchemists. And, you know, if he made them into noblemen, that would have made his friends Allomancers and Feruchemists, putting them on the same playing field as Reshek, and he would have never allowed that. So it turns out that they traded their Feruchemy for mortality and became the first generation that Tensoon has mentioned before. So they are there. They do exist. Because remember we questioned that. We're like, are they even there? Are they even alive? So they're there. And this is what finally snaps Sazed out of his depression. He's like, I have been so stupid this whole time. Like I could have been talking to Tensoon this whole time. So the terrorist religion still lives with the first generation. Like, oh my gosh.
Right.
I am so happy for Sazed, but I still have no idea how this can all help because he said this is hope, right? Obviously, they hold all the secrets of the world, basically, but it's getting to the point where it looks like it's a little bit too late, or at least that's how it feels like to me.
Well, they're definitely running out of time.
Yeah, and Tensoon, he's been holding on to this big secret. I wish somebody would have said something before. Why wait till now? You know?
Also,
Yeah.
why not just tell Sazed? Like, it's obviously important. It's obviously important. Come on, Tensoon. Like, why not just tell him? I know you want to tell Vin, but also Sazed could be helpful here too, you know?
And he's on his way to Vin, and Vin's about to leave. I'm like, no.
I know.
I know. More dread.
Yeah. Gosh. Like, I remember the first time reading this when Tensoon got to Luthadel and they sent him to Urtu, and I'm like, no. And then he's in Urtu and they're sending him to Fadrix, and then she's leaving.
She's leaving.
Yeah, oh my God. And like the whole time is running out, and you're like, they just need to meet.
Obviously, I don't know.
I was going to be, is it one of those things where Tensoon is just going to have to settle for telling Elend and hope that Vin gets the message on her own or figures it out on her own because they're running out of time?
Maybe. Yeah. I was thinking more like, since we don't really know, or do we have a map? I don't think we have a map.
We have a lot of maps, I feel like.
Okay.
In the beginning of the
Well,
story.
I need to look at the map because if they're gonna cross paths, like I can see that being the only way for them to finally see each other is that as she's on her way to Luthadel and as he's on her way to Fadrix, like they'll run into each other somehow.
Yeah.
That's
Maybe.
plausible.
Yeah, so I'm like maybe because I feel very frustrated that they're heading in different directions and he's been literally trying to get to Vin this entire time.
Gosh. They're just like crisscrossing the empire.
Literal ships in the night.
Are you looking at the map?
Yeah, I'm looking at the map, but
Is
it's
it?
also tiny.
Okay. I'll look at it later.
But they're literally on opposite ends of the empire right now, and about to
Yeah,
maybe cross paths.
I hope so. We'll see.
Okay. Was that all three of yours? Okay, awesome. Okay, so my first one was on the death of preservation. Because even besides having finished this book, I still have questions about this situation that I'm just like, there's something here that I'm not getting. So maybe you guys can help me out with this. So in the epigraph before chapter 55, it says, if Elend had waited a few more minutes on that ashen field, he would have seen a body, short of stature, black hair, prominent nose, fall from the mist and slump dead onto the ground. So I know that in earlier epigraphs, it was mentioned that preservation gave up its consciousness to imprison Ruin at the well and prevent him from destroying humanity, basically. But once Ruin was free, their powers were imbalanced, which weakened preservation.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why he died, in that moment after his encounter with Elend. But I was just like more stuck on the description of like his physical form in the mist, or I guess after because he appeared as the mist spirit, which doesn't really have an actual tangible form.
Mhm.
But then once he died, it seems like he actually had a physical body that died and fell on the ash. So
Right.
I don't know if there's some more significance that I'm not picking up on here. Again, pointing out the description of his body: short of stature, black hair, prominent nose. Does he look like a Terraceman? But also in my head, for some reason, I was thinking Terracemen are tall.
Mm-hmm.
Was I just wrong
they
about
are.
that
No.
memory? I've always imagined, I guess, Sazed to be tall, but am I just making that up? Are they actually shorter? And then I don't know why it matters. It probably doesn't matter at all, but for some reason, like, this just stuck out to me. Like, what do you guys think?
What do you think, Ethan?
Well, I didn't think too much of it at first, but would this actually imply, like, if they have bodies, would this actually imply that they're not gods at all? They just think of themselves as that?
Yeah,
And
that's another thing. It's like they have a physical form, that looks like
Yeah.
humans.
And if it's not a physical form, is it more symbolism here? That because in an earlier epigraph we get mentioned that the Lord Ruler originally fashioned nobles to look a certain way and for Ska to look a
Right.
certain way, and Ska
Yeah.
were like the shorter ones, right? And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
and preservation is the symbolism that the preservation was always for the Ska's cause
Mm-hmm.
and is something to be worshipped, I guess, in the eyes of the Ska. Like that's truly who they served this whole time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did not think much about this either. I was sad that he died. He did give Elend a very small hope before he died because he kind of gave like
Mhm.
a somewhat wave when he said, "Can we beat it?" Right? And so
Yeah.
he gave the small
There's
hope.
hope.
There's a little tiny bit of hope. But I didn't think much about what his body looked like because, I mean, we don't really know where they came from. Like the Chondrus
Yeah.
called them the gods. And so they were here obviously before the Lord Ruler came. So
Right.
I'm wondering about their origin too.
Yeah,
Which
I guess it just stuck out to me because you think of a god as not necessarily a physical being,
Yeah.
but for some reason when he died, he took on the image of a person. So that's got to mean something, right? I just can't imagine what that means.
I will say, super side note, we've been posting a lot of our theories on like Ruin and Preservation and the Khandra. We have been getting a lot of recommendations that we need to read The Secret History after this because it gives
Okay.
the backstory of Ruin and Preservation. So it'd be cool to kind of see their origin story. And obviously we can't read it until after because then it would give us a lot of
Yeah.
spoilers. So just putting that out there. Thank you to everybody who's been commenting and giving us that recommendation. So I'm excited
Love
to
that.
see
Twist my arm
if,
to read something else.
right?
I
Yeah.
know, right? Yeah. Adding that to my TBR right away.
Yeah. It gives us more answers. And I did ask, I'm like, okay, but is that going to leave us with a lot of questions, even with the end of the Hero of Ages? And they're like, no, you're still going to get answers, but this just gives you a lot more background on who they are. I'm like, okay, cool. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you for not spoiling.
Okay, well, maybe
Yes,
that's
thank
where my
you.
answer is to this, because for some
Maybe.
reason I'm just like,
Yeah.
Why point out exactly what his description is?
Yeah.
Exactly.
But anyway. Okay, so my second point was the people that Ruin was able to manipulate. And honestly, this was just like funny to me, so I wanted
Yeah.
to talk about it. So in the epigraph before chapter 62, it says, it was much easier for Ruin to get a hold of people who were passionate and impulsive than it was for him to hold on to people who were logical and prone to working through their actions in their minds. It even said right before that that Ruin had actually succeeded in spiking, but he took it out before Ruin was able to actually get a hold on him. So this just made me chuckle a bit because it gets mentioned a lot how impulsive and how much Vin is impulsive, and she leans on her instincts a lot and gut feelings.
Yeah.
And Elend is the complete opposite. You know, he's a philosopher, he's the logical thinker. He's a lot more think before you act, and Vin is the opposite, you know?
Yeah.
And like in that moment right before he almost completely gave up, Ellen was even thinking about how Vin is just so like reactive and impulsive and passionate. And like even envying her for it and thinking that
Yeah.
was like his fatal flaw and why he couldn't figure this thing out. You know, Vin's in prison, the world is ending. I'm supposed to be, you know, the ruler, the protector, and I can't do anything about it. I have, you know, like I failed.
Yeah.
But like ultimately he did not fail because Ruin was not able to get a spike into him.
Yeah.
Not necessarily because he's the more logical person, but even if he had been able to, Ruin probably wouldn't have been able to get a hold on him because Elend is a logical person. He would have removed it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like Yeoman did. So yeah, what did you guys think of that?
It was really interesting. At first, I really thought that he was targeting people based on their insecurities, right? Because like Spook had a lot of insecurities. Vin had a lot of insecurities. You know, Marsh, like he was obviously taken
Easy
into
to
control because he became
manipulate
an
and
inquisitor.
exploit.
Huh?
Yeah.
I was just saying easy to manipulate and exploit.
Yeah, exactly. So that was my thinking all along based on all the people that he was taking under their control. And it would even fit for Quellion too. I'm sure he had a lot of insecurities going into a leadership role, right? And so I did fear for Elend because he does have some insecurities too, but he is very much a logical person, as you were saying. So I thought that was really funny. I liked it. I was like, oh, that's a good like revelation, right? It's like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't necessarily work for everybody. Like, not everybody is as vulnerable to Ruin's manipulation if they get spiked.
Yeah.
And I feel like
I
Vin
thought
has
this
been
was-
doing. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, I thought Vin has been doing a good job of pushing back, even so.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's being manipulated by him, but she's also been pushing that voice back as much as possible because she has been gaining a lot of her confidence, and she has been changing a lot of how she thinks because of Elend.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought this section was kind of throwing some shade Vin's way because she is a little impulsive, and even Ellen says that, like you were saying, Steph. But I was like, but why, if that's true, because he should be able to manipulate Vin in that way. I was like, it's Ellen.
Yes.
If she had not met Elend,
Right.
she would not have been able to overcome any of that.
Yeah.
And she would have been Ruin's champion, like truly.
Yeah.
Even if she had met Kelsier and not Elend, it's still, he's very much the key there.
Yeah.
Well, she would have gone over to
exactly.
Zane. I mean, she was literally about to make
she
that
almost
choice
did.
in book 2. And Zane was under Ruin's control. Obviously, now we know why he pushed so hard to get Vin to go with him, because it was Ruin, right? But if had it not been for Ellen, then she would have ended up with Zane, and they would have been the power couple to destroy the world.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oof.
So that was the key, is Elend and his logical brain.
I love him.
I know, he's so great. He's the best character ever.
He is.
I know. Such a solid guy.
I know. Okay, so my last point was the revelation of Belgrade being a coin shot.
Good job, Ethan.
I just first wanted to give you guys kudos because y'all, like I've mentioned before, you guys have been calling a lot of these things. And these are things that I wasn't able to connect on my own, like when I was reading the books. And so I've been really impressed with how you called out the earring, Ethan. And then I think you also called out that, I think we were talking in this last episode about there's always been a woman who is underestimated
Ethan,
and turns
yeah.
out to be an Allomancer. And here we go. I was trying so hard not to react to that one because I was like, that's right. Here she is. But yeah, I mean, how do we feel about this? She ultimately kind of sabotaged the crew's plan to flood the canals again. But then that ended up making Spook a hero because he ended up having to run through the flames and save the day. So it kind of worked out, even though their whole plan was going to shit. But I still kind of like her and Spook together. Like I ship them. I think they're like sweet together. Okay, good. And I feel like she always had the best intentions and just didn't want her brother to die.
Yes.
And that's why she sabotaged their plan. So I don't think she necessarily wanted Spook to risk his life. I don't think she could have seen what happened with the riots.
Yeah.
Which is ultimately why the city was on fire. And Spook had to do that.
I like her. I definitely ship them too. I like them together. And I didn't feel like, yes, it was a great revelation. Good call out, Ethan, for noticing that. So I thought it was like, ooh, way to go, Ethan, when I read that. But I also didn't feel anything negative towards her. I wasn't mad that she went and sabotaged him. I was just like, you know what? She really was genuine when she was trying to save her brother. And I feel that because I love my brother. So I would have done anything to try to save mine too. Even if he was being manipulated and he was turning a little crazy, I'm going to try to save him, even though I know he's doing wrong things, right? So kudos to her because she saved them both. If it wasn't for her, Spook would have never snapped out of all of that was going on. So she saved them both.
Yeah, it ended up working out.
Yeah.
Yeah, she comes in clutch here. She reminds me of, oh my gosh, Kale's Boo, but then she started dating Bird Guy from Throne of Glass.
Oh, shoot,
Kale's
why can't I think of her
Nezrin?
name?
Nezrin.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
She reminds me a little of Nezrin, just not as hard-edged. Like she's a
okay.
softer version of Nezrin to me.
Yeah.
Just with what she's so loyal. And she's genuine. And I was afraid. So called that she's an Allomancer, but I am glad that I was wrong about the other part because I thought she was there for nefarious purposes. And so I'm very glad that I was wrong on that front because I love them together.
Yeah.
And she hasn't
so
left
cute.
his side.
I
Oh my
know.
gosh, that's
I know.
adorable.
So sweet. I love it.
Yeah, and she's even like, no, he's more than just a survivor. He saved my brother. He's himself again because of him.
I love
so
that.
Sweet. Well, I think I bring that up because the first time around when I read this, I was not a fan of Beldray when this reveal happened. I was like, oh my God, she sabotaged them, and like that's why Spook had to like run through the flames.
Yeah.
And I didn't like that.
I mean, true.
Yeah,
That's
but now the
valid.
second time around, I'm coming around to, oh, she was just trying to save her brother. She didn't necessarily do that to try to kill Spook.
Didn't like straight up attack him, did she?
Yeah, she wasn't trying to kill him. She was just trying to stop him from killing Quellion because
Right.
Ruin was trying to manipulate him into killing Quellion.
Yeah.
When she threw the coin at him.
Yeah. So much happened in that scene.
I know. And also,
it's
I know we're
tense.
not talking about Spook, but just another shout out to him because as soon as he comes to, he's like, I need to send a message now. Like, I'm in pain because I'm
Yes.
burned to hell.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we need to get this now. And so
I know.
loved it.
Yeah. Vin needs to know what's going on here, how people are being manipulated. He was amazing. I love him.
Yeah. And people were even telling him, yeah, okay, we'll get her a message, but you're literally on the brink of death.
Yeah.
So chill out. He's like, no. Okay, so that was our 3 things that stuck out. Next, we're going to talk about 2 character moments. Ethan, what were yours?
Okay. So my guy from last episode to this episode, Preservation.
Yeah.
Damn. As soon as I mention him, like, where's he been? Now we know why, and I kind of feel bad. So
did his best.
we realize that he hasn't been around because he actually can't. So
Yeah.
we learned that in order for him to imprison, he had to basically sacrifice his own sentience for the most part. He still had some strength and was able to appear as the Mist Spirit, but overall he's been activating just like the mist, but more like of a primal force rather than anything that has any kind of know-how and logic. But yeah, poor guy.
I know. We got a lot of information about him in the epigraphs, like not really in the main story. We really haven't been hearing, besides the Mist Spirit, right? And even then, the Mist Spirit didn't appear that many times. We got a handful of times in book 2. We got it maybe twice here in book 3, right?
I think this was the only time in book 3.
I thought that she mentioned that she felt him. Maybe it was mentioned that she hadn't seen him in a while. I don't remember. But yeah, he hasn't really made his appearance at all either, so.
But yeah, this is wise because now that Ruin's out, he's lost a lot of power.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. And then my second point is Yeoman. Okay, I'm going to issue an apology, Yeoman, because I certainly thought you were under Ruin's control. I thought you were one of his generals.
Yeah.
But I'm still mad at you. Because I can't give you a pass. Kudos to you for not being able to be kept under the control of Ruin because you're so logical. But that just proves your own fanaticism to your god that you still think is alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're logical, but in an errant way. Like you're to almost cult-like way, you know?
Yes.
So he's still logical. Ruin wasn't able to control him for that, but still an idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was very frustrated in that moment when he decided to attack Elend and his army after being told to do that. I'm like, bro, listen to Vin. She knows what she's talking about. She is trying to be... She's trying not to kill you, first of all. She could have done that so many other times. And she's trying not to kill you. She's trying to do Elend's way, right? And I was just very frustrated with that, the fact that he's a fanatic. And I'm just like, bro, open your eyes.
And she was laying it out to him very logically.
Yes.
But like you said, Ethan, he was just being so zealous and fanatical about it that he didn't want to see like facts that were laid out in front of him.
Right.
Yeah.
Ostrich with its head in the sand.
Yeah.
1,000%.
I mean, thankfully he came around in the end and he allowed Elend and his group and everybody to come in for safety. So thank goodness. But it took Vin using her Koloss, using her Koloss to show that they were going to attack his army next.
No matter what.
Yeah. So good.
Crazy.
It was.
Yeah, those are my two.
Okay, so my first one is on Tensoon imitating Kelsier. So this happened in chapter 52.
Oh my gosh.
Honestly, we don't get a lot of funny moments, but we had a few this time.
Yeah.
And this is definitely one of them. So in chapter 52, I thought it was very clever of Tensoon and maybe just a bit creepy that he went to go dig up Kelsier's bones and decided to imitate him to get more information on what was going on at Keep Venture.
Another miraculous apparition.
He's like, how can I get information? Let me go dig up these bones and wear him.
I just love it. My children.
Yeah. Conjure's just so creepy though. Like that, like you said, it's creepy that he didn't.
Clever and creepy. Yeah, very necessary because he got a lot of really great information. I mean, he got the wrong location, but it was supposed to be a secret, right? So, and then the fact that he decides to take him. Oh yeah, maybe I'll need these bones again. I'm like, okay.
Which implies that he will at some point.
Yeah. I am wondering though if that's going to cause problems, considering that Ruin has also shown himself as Kelsier before. Is that going to be some type of confusion later, or it could be nothing? I don't know. Or it could just be helpful, like you're saying. You know, he probably will use them because a lot of people do still look up to Kelsier and still think of him, hold him at high regard. So, no, we'll see. Okay, so that was my first one. My second one is actually on Ruin, and it was something that he said in chapter 57. It gave me chills, but it also gave me pause. And I was just like, good point. So he was talking to Vin about Elend when Vin tells Ruin that Elend is a good person. So basically going into, defending him, right? And Ruin said, Vin, why can't you see? This isn't about good or evil. Morality doesn't enter into it. Good men will kill as quickly for what they want as evil men. Only the things they want are different. And then, well, honestly, like what, first of all, okay, he kind of makes a good point because there's been a lot of death in this book, whether it came from somebody who was evil and it came from somebody who was good, right? So it did make me stop to think. I'm like, okay, good point. And this is honestly what Elend has been struggling with basically this entire book. Anytime he gives an order that could cost someone's life, he stops to question if it's the right thing to do. He's often compared himself to the Lord Ruler, and this was actually what was happening with Quellion too, where he was also doing all of these things in the name of good, right? Even though now we know he was under the Ruin's manipulation. So it was just a quote that stood out to me, and I'm like, interesting. And, you know, also, F you, Ruin. I don't like you, but interesting.
Yeah.
But he makes a point. Like, this
Right,
is
like-
these are complex characters. It's not about good versus bad.
Right.
Right. And it makes me think of like also something that Belger said to Spook at one point when she was asking him not to kill Quellion. And Spook told her, I wish I could promise you that, but I just can't. Like it's for the greater good. And then
Yeah.
she said, well, what he's doing, what Quellion is doing, he says is all for the greater good too.
Right.
Like you guys are very similar in that way.
Yeah.
And so it's like that, you know, dichotomy of like, will people kill for good or bad? Like they'll kill for both, you know,
Yeah.
it just depends on what their motivation is.
Yeah.
And then like you said, Elend has already killed for the greater good,
Yeah.
just not under Ruin's manipulation,
Right.
but still he has, and he
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
Ultimately, he has kind of come to terms with like, I will only attack Fadrix if it's the last resort, you know,
Yeah.
but he will if he
Yeah.
has to.
You know, this whole interaction had me thinking, because during this interaction that Ruin has with Vin, at some point he divulges that because she thinks the opposite of destroying with Ruin is creation, and Ruin says preservation could not create,
Right.
but to destroy, the exact opposite would be to create. So does that mean he can't truly destroy the world? If preservation couldn't create, can he not truly destroy? Can it just be transformed into something new? And so that gave me a little bit of hope going through all of this. It may not be related at all whatsoever. Also, if they can't create, that would imply to me that the world was already there, right? So that kind of
Right.
solidifies a kind of that other understanding that maybe they aren't gods. Maybe they are people that came of this world that just came in contact with some primal force.
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah, that's what kind of branched off in my mind.
maybe
Okay.
maybe he can't destroy, like maybe he can't just be like everybody's dead, right? Destroy, but he can cause
Devastation,
what am I thinking?
for sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he can cause a lot of other different events to lead up to the
Essentially the end.
destruction of the world.
Yeah.
It's like I cannot think of words today.
It makes me think,
the
like-
ashes are the ones that are like almost basically covering up the world,
Right.
and he's
Like
been
an
doing
ice age.
that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and it makes me feel like this is what happened when Pangea broke up, you know? Like this is how it probably was, you know, like all overactive plate boundaries physically separating themselves through earthquake and eruption.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it became a whole new world, literally. Okay, so my first thing, or my first character moment, was actually a couple of Spook moments. It's specifically Spook and Beldre and the way that they interact. And I just noticed that he kind of regresses into his old self when he interacts with Beldre, but not necessarily in a bad way. It's just you see the old Spook
Yeah.
when they're communicating. And so the first moment was in chapter 53 when he told her that he tried to court Vin by giving her a handkerchief once. He
So
said,
cute.
I'm not sure what I was thinking trying to court her. I mean, I'm just Spook, quiet, incomprehensible, forgettable Spook. Then he thought to himself, what am I saying? Women didn't want to hear me talk about how insignificant they were. Or yeah. He'd heard that much. I shouldn't have come to talk to her. I should have gone about giving orders, looking like I was in charge. And then again in chapter 56, when she was talking or when she was looking at the notes that he was writing for his plans to expose Quellion, he had written them in his Eastern slang that he talks, and he started talking the slang to her. And then he thought to himself, why do I act so foolish around her? He thought, the others always made fun of my slang. Even Kelsier thought it was silly. Now I start speaking it in front of her. I just thought these moments were so cute to like see the old
So
Spook
cute.
again.
Yeah.
Because like he's been a completely different person in this book. Even before Ruin was manipulating him, he had already grown and like changed. He had already become a tin savant and was trying to do something to help the crew out.
Yeah.
And it was almost like a different character, but it was nice to get these glimpses of the old Spook, at least for me, to see, oh, he's still in there, you know, he's just grown up a little bit, you know?
Yeah. I love that he would catch himself whenever Beldre would be around, where he was trying, he was obviously carrying around this very confident, arrogant air about him. But when she was, you said, when she was around, you know, he would become the Spook that he is. But I think that's what saved him ultimately, because had he treated her like he wanted to in the arrogant way where he thought that that's what she wanted, then she would have never warmed up to him. She would have never seen a different side of him, and she probably wouldn't have saved him or not attacked him, right? So I love that. I love that he was vulnerable around her. I love that he included her whenever she asked about the plans instead of just shutting her out, right? He was like actually talking to her like a human being instead of just dismissing her completely. So kudos to you, Spook.
Yeah.
I just thought this whole scene was so Disney level cute. Of like,
Yes, exactly.
It was just sappily cute, and I loved it. And the part where like it really made me pay attention was the one that you just said, Jen, is that he didn't dismiss her immediately. He was like, no, wait, that's what her brother does. And that's why she's so dejected right now. No, let me fix that. Let me fix it, because I kind of like her. Oh, it's so cute.
Yeah. Oh, so sweet. Okay. And then the second character moment that I wanted to talk about is the moment when Elend gave up. It was just such a gut-wrenching scene. Because like, I just really felt that like, everything that he was thinking about, like I was feeling that right there with him, and just you know, also feeling hopeless in that moment. And like, even though I've like read this book in its entirety before and I know the conclusion, like I still feel that hopelessness with him. So he's walking back to camp after getting all those kolos from the village, and he's thinking about Vin being captured and noticing how bad the ash was getting. At this point, it's up to his waist, I think. And then when he falls to his knees, it's up to his chest. It is just absolutely engulfing the earth. So, and the ash is black, so it's blocking out the sun, it's dark, and it's just everywhere. So that alone, that image is crazy to even think about.
Yeah.
So here's the quote. It says, Ellen stood looking up at the sky, watching the flakes of ash fall, continuing their silent yet ceaseless barrage against the land. Like the raven feathers of a soft pillow used to suffocate a sleeping victim. We are doomed, he thought. That's it. It's all going to end. Ellen slumped to his knees. The ash came up to his chest. And there in the ash, he finally just gave up. It almost brought tears to my eyes, because I'm like, what do you even do in that moment?
Yeah.
Even these 30,000 kolos can't fix the ash. What the hell? So I really don't have much more to say about it. It was just like, wow, the depth of what he was feeling in that moment.
I know.
It's crazy.
Completely heartbreaking,
Intense.
honestly. And it was in the very beginning of the section. So it was one of the very first chapters of our section that we were reading. And so I was already feeling very weary going into these chapters, because I know we're getting to the end and it feels like the end really is ending, or the world really is ending. And so I'm just like, for me to read that Elend of all people is giving up.
Yeah.
I was just like, I told you, we're all dying.
Yeah. It was intense.
No.
Okay, let me quickly turn past this page so I can read. Get this out.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But then the Mist Spirit showed up, and that encouraged him, and it was
Gave him a
encouraging
little bit of
too.
hope.
Like you said, Jen, and he gave him hope when he was like, I mean, can we beat it? And he was like, yes.
Like,
yeah.
he gave like a small wave.
It was just like,
Yeah.
there's a chance. And Ellen was
It
like,
made me think of
"There's a
Doctor
chance?"
Strange during Avengers, where he just like only one in 100 million cases can this happen. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, that's like that level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're
Yeah.
saying there's still a chance.
Yeah.
Hold on to that.
I'm very scared.
Oh, no. Okay, so that is it for our two character moments. Next, we're going to talk about our theory and or prediction. Ethan, what do you got?
Okay, so mine, I'm going to continue mine from last week. Ten Soon mentions to Sazed as they're going to the homeland of the Khandra, that prophecy kind of, that Vin, assuming she's the hero of ages, that she's the one to lead an army of allomancers back to the homeland. And that made me think of two things. First, it made me think of one thing. Yeah, that the Mistfallen, like I said last week, are, like you were saying earlier, Jen, they're possibly related and might have misting allomantic abilities. So I don't, because I made the connection with the 16 burnable metals, and now that we know, because of Yeoman, now that we know that there can be an adium misting, that hold even more merit to me. I think so.
Yeah, I thought about you immediately when I read that. I'm like, that ties into exactly what Ethan was talking about, like an army of allomancers, right? Maybe they are the people that are misfallen, right?
Yeah, and they still haven't tested that out. They just assume like, okay, the mist either kills you or you get sick
or makes you sick,
or you don't, and that's it.
Yeah,
they haven't like gone past that yet, but there have been like little breadcrumbs throughout that suggest maybe we should try to get them to burn some metals and see what happens.
Well, isn't that what Preservation was pointing to Elend's sash? That's what I'm saying. There has to be.
Yeah. But he just didn't make that connection. He was just like, I don't know what you mean by that. Anyway, do we have a chance?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
The mist, your metals. Think about it. Think about it.
Yeah, please.
Okay. So it kind of goes off of my last one about the first contract and about the Khandra people and the mass suicide being the resolution or whatever. Kind of just ties into a lot of those things. Okay. But in chapter 57, Ruin said something that caught my attention that I thought ties into these things. So after Vin questions Ruin and his insistence on Vin killing Yeoman, basically saying that Yeoman is on Ruin's side, Ruin says, "You still don't understand, Icy. You're all on my side, Vin. I created you. You're my tools, each and every one of you. Zane, Yeoman, you, your dear Emperor Venture." And then Vin quickly defends Elend and says, "Not Elend. He will fight you." Then Ruin says, "That's what you refuse to understand, child. You cannot fight me, for by the mere act of fighting, you advance my goals." And this stuck out to me, especially because Preservation told Elend not to attack Phaedrix, remember? And so I know that Elend is trying so hard to be diplomatic and get everyone to come together without violence, but if everyone would just listen to him, I think that this is what will weaken Ruin enough to finally take him down, because Ruin is obviously trying so hard to manipulate the people in power to fight against Elend. We saw that with Quellion. We saw that with Yeoman by using the Inquisitor, right? Because he couldn't manipulate him, so he used the Inquisitor and used his faith against him. So he's trying to attack all of these people in leadership so that they don't listen to Elend and they're forced to fight, forced towards violence, right? So I think this, along with getting rid of anything that was made with hemalurgy, will finally restore the balance. So if we would just stop fighting, then we would stop fueling Ruin, and I think that will start to weaken him. I don't know. What do y'all think?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. He's causing all this instability in the Empire to advance his ultimate goal, which is the end of the world.
Yeah.
While everybody's bickering over here, the earth is literally getting covered in ash, and no one's doing anything about it. So no matter what they do, if they're going to keep fighting, it's just helping him anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, similar to you, Steph. Yeah, this definitely interesting. I don't think I thought about it too much, but I tend to agree with what you were saying.
Well, and I wasn't going to bring it up, but I remembered what Preservation had told Elend to not attack Phaedrix, right? And so if he doesn't want him to fight, and Ruin is basically saying that by fighting, you're already advancing his goals.
Right.
It would make sense then to all stop fighting, to quit the violence, and maybe that will weaken him. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a thought.
Minimize the chaos for
Okay.
sure.
Or maybe we can all figure out, like you said, it's the hemalurgy that he's using to like advance his goals. Let's get rid
Right.
of all the spikes.
Yes, because because the hemalurgy, like I said last time, it takes a lot of sacrifice to make all of those, which means a lot of death, right? And
Right.
all of this dying and violence, that's what's fueling him. So if we could just stop doing all that, you guys,
Just stop.
Please.
stop.
stop.
That's it. Be like Ellen, please.
I know. Yeah. Just everybody work together and it'll be better.
Yeah. So I guess that's like a theory / prediction. I don't know. I just kind of start grouping these all together.
Yeah.
Truly.
Okay. So, like I've been doing, instead of sharing a theory or prediction, since I already have read this, I am asking a question for the group. So, my question today is, in your opinion, who has grown the most since the final empire?
Ooh.
Your options are Vin, Elend, Sazed, or Spook.
That's like
choices.
saying who's your favorite character.
Not necessarily.
I mean,
wouldn't say so.
What I'm saying, like, that's how impossible the choice is, because I have a lot of favorites, and
Yeah.
I feel like all 4 of those grew a lot from book 1.
So much, yeah.
Yes.
It is hard
But
to
I would make an
decide.
argument. I would make an argument for Spook. Because Vin was able to grow with the help of Kelsier and Ellen and Sazed and everyone around her. She had the benefit of that. Ellen had Tindwyl and also Vin
Yeah.
and Sazed. I feel like he's taken a long time to grow in this book alone. Like he's just now at the point where he needs to be. But Spook, I think, has grown the most because he had to do that all on his own. He earned that growth purely on his own merit and through his own trial and error, because that's what he was asked to do. You know, go do that.
Right.
Be a spy for us, please, and report. So I would say Spook.
Okay.
I would say Ellen. I mean, surprise,
Okay.
right? I love Ellen.
That might be a biased answer, but
A little
fine,
bit.
we'll take it.
But you got to think about where he started and where he is now. He started literally as this kid at this ballroom reading about theory and philosophy, and he is literally now the emperor holding this freaking world together, because I feel like had it not been for everything he's done, that world would have been doomed way before where it's at now. Everybody would have just killed each other off to get to the resources,
Yeah.
like I talked about in a couple episodes ago. So I think it's Ellen. I think he has grown a lot. I mean, he grew a lot in book 1 just by itself, by, you know, accepting Vin for who she was. Then he grew even more in book 2 when he took on the king role. And now he's emperor, and he's even more confident, and he's even grown more into his role. And like I said, he's just been keeping the world held together. It's maybe by tape, but it's still there. It's still
It's hanging
together.
there.
Yeah. So that's what I think.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so it was also hard for me to decide like who has grown the most, but I think I'm with you, Ethan, and I'm gonna give it to Spook because, like you said, he did do it all on his own. Like literally, no one helped him here.
Yeah.
He was under control by Ruin and still was able to get out from under that. And like, he didn't have Elend or Vin or Sazed to like help him grow. He did it all on his own. That's pretty commendable.
In a
So
way,
I think for me, it's Spook.
in a way, though, he did have Kelsier, Ellen, and Vin because he looked up to them. He looked up to their example.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I'm not saying he didn't grow, because he did. He grew a lot. I'm just saying
Yeah.
he didn't completely do it alone. He had really good role models in his life that he looked up to,
yeah, that
and he took
was
their
modeling
example.
after.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But I would say he's the most like unrecognizable from like book 1 to now.
He has grown a lot. Yeah.
Okay,
Alright.
so that is our discussion, you guys.
Ooh, that was good. I love that one. Okay, book friends, that was the end of our 4th deep dive on The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. Let's keep the discussion going. We are Books Between Friends pod on all platforms. Thank you for interacting with us in our socials. We look forward to chatting with you all about this book. And we also love the comments, so keep them coming.
But keep them spoiler free, you guys, please. And we still haven't finished the book.
Please. We're reading this in real time
We
with
just have
you.
one more section.
Yeah. Okay, you guys, on our next episode, the end of the world is here. I told you guys. The final pieces are falling into place. And Brandon Sanderson is about to remind us why this trilogy is considered a fantasy classic. Join us next time for our final discussion of the Hero of Ages.
Oh my gosh, yay.
I'm nervous.
Get ready. That's a wrap for Books Between Friends today. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you in the next chapter.